Number 8. The GAU-8 Avenger. The American-made GAU-8 Avenger is one of the largest and most powerful machine guns ever built. Built by General Electric, this 7-barrel hydraulically powered 30mm autocannon is typically mounted on Fairchild Republic A-10 Thunderbolt II attack aircraft that are flown by the United States Air Force. It's also used on ships as part of the Dutch Goalkeeper CIW automatic weapons system. Development of the GAU-8 began during the early 1970s when GE won the contract to build the prototype. It was originally designed to fire 4,000 cartridges per minute at a speed of 1,000 meters per second. Modern versions of the gun fire at a still very impressive rate at 1,800 rounds per minute, with each 30mm cartridge being larger than a typical beer bottle. In a completely assembled state, the gun measures 19.5 feet long and weighs 4,029 pounds. The GAU-8's purpose is to destroy a wide variety of targets, including armored personnel carriers, bunkers, retaining walls, fixed and mobile artillery, aircraft, and even heavy tanks. During the Gulf War, it destroyed over 900 Iraqi tanks, 2 helicopters, and around 2,000 military vehicles. In recent years, the Air Force has sought to retire its aging A-10 aircraft fleet. As of 2023, however, the jet's retirement is on hold until the Air Force can prove its ability to replace its fighting capabilities. Number 7. The MG-34. General-purpose machine guns are simple, yet powerful and efficient weapons that have been in use since the 1930s. The first ever GPMG was developed by Nazi Germany as a way to circumvent the Treaty of Versailles restrictions on machine guns, which were imposed following World War I. Known as the MG-34, the gun was designed as a part of a clandestine military revitalization program that was born out of Germany's desire to get around the Versailles Treaty. They accomplished this through the innovation of an entirely new automatic firepower concept that wasn't considered in the restrictions that were imposed on the country. Dubbed the Universal Machine Gun, the weapon was designed to provide low-level anti-aircraft coverage. The MG-34 was capable of firing 850 rounds per minute with a lethality range of over 1,000 meters, and it was light enough for one person to carry, making it unmatched by any other gun of the time when it came to firepower and mobility. It could be mounted on a bipod or tripod for light to medium infantry use, and was also mounted on tanks and other vehicles as both a ground combat and air defense weapon. Soldiers who were strong enough could even hold the gun themselves and fire it from a standing position, which reduced the accuracy of the shot but could come in handy in a desperate situation. But there were some drawbacks to the MG-34, including its complex design, which made mass production difficult. To resolve the issue, the Germans developed the MG-42 as a replacement for the MG-34. The MG-42 was both cheaper and simpler than its predecessor, but both guns remained in production throughout the war. Following the conflict, several countries designed similar guns based on the MG-42, including Italy, Austria, and Yugoslavia. Many of the MG-42's design elements were incorporated to other GPMGs, including the American M60, the French AA-52, and the Belgian FN Mag, which remains in use to this day. Many different models of the general-purpose machine gun have been deployed in the decades since World War II, and it remains one of the world's most popular types of military firearm. Number 6. The FN Mag. The original FN Mag general-purpose machine gun was designed in the decade after World War II, with the purpose of matching the German-made MG-42's capabilities. It entered production in 1958 under Belgian manufacturer Fabrique Nationale, and quickly proved to be one of the most reliable and durable machine guns ever built. Known for its ability to withstand all types of climate and weather conditions, the FN Mag attracted buyers from all over the world. More than 60 years after the first FN Mag guns rolled off the production line, it remains one of the world's most mass-produced weapons of its kind. It's been used by over 80 countries, including practically every Western nation. Many modern-day GPMGs are based on the FN Mag, including the British-made L7A2, which is the standard-issue light machine gun among all branches of the country's military. The American version of the weapon, known as the M240, has been used by the United States Army since the late 1970s. There are also Chinese, German, Indonesian, Israeli, Swedish, and Turkish variants of the FN Mag. In 2020, members of Israel's national intelligence agency Mossad reconfigured an FN mag gun to be remote control operated. They used it to kill Iran's chief nuclear scientist, Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, in an attempt to curb the country's development of nuclear weapons. According to the New York Times, the gun's components were smuggled into Iran in small shipments over a several-month period. The modified FN mag was attached to an advanced robotic apparatus, which was designed to destroy the gun itself after it was used to carry out its intended task. Iranian agents working for Mossad hid the gun at a roadside construction site near the town of Absard. A sniper reportedly fired the FN mag from over 1,000 miles away in Israel. The mission was successful, but the explosives that were meant to destroy the gun partially failed, which is how Iranian authorities were able to determine exactly what happened. When the allegations of a satellite-operated assassination first surfaced, many Israeli experts were quick to dismiss the theory. After doing some extensive digging, journalists from the Jerusalem Post confirmed that the gun was in fact remotely controlled, making the scientist's killing one of the most unconventional uses of the FN mag to date. Number 5. The PKM. Also known as the Pulmayat Kalashnikova or Kalashnikov's machine gun, the Soviet-designed PKM is a general-purpose machine gun that was introduced in 1961 as a replacement for the aging SGM and RP-46 machine guns that has remained in production ever since. The original PK machine gun was designed by Mikhail Kalashnikov, the famous designer of the AK assault rifles. And one of the reasons it became so popular was because Kalashnikov incorporated elements of the AK rifle that had already proven to be successful. Some experts have even described the PKM as having a much better design than the AK, even though the latter is far more popular. Improved variants were developed over the following decades, and the PK was modernized into the PKM in 1969 and remains in use today as a vehicle-mounted and frontline infantry weapon. Several countries developed their own copies of the weapon, including Poland, Yugoslavia, China, Bulgaria, Romania, and Ukraine. Today, the PKM is one of the world's most popular CPMGs. One of its main selling points is its weight. At just 17 pounds, it's one of the world's lightest full-caliber machine guns. It's also widely favored for its ability to withstand heavy abuse and extreme weather, including temperature fluctuations between -50 and 50 degrees Celsius. During the Soviet era, the PKM was used in the USSR, East Germany, Lithuania, and Yugoslavia. Today, it remains in service in dozens of countries, including the former Soviet and Yugoslav states. The gun has seen combat in numerous major conflicts, including the Vietnam War, the Iran-Iraq War, multiple civil wars in Afghanistan, the Yugoslav wars, and the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. At number 4, the IWI Negev NG7. Developed for the Israeli Defense Forces during the 1980s, the IWI Negev is one of the newest general-purpose machine guns on today's list. It was designed as a lighter replacement for the IDF's standard-issue machine gun at the time, the Galil rifle. Also known as Israel's AK-47, the Galil gun was plagued by overheating problems, especially in the hot Middle Eastern climate. As a result, the IWI Negev was designed primarily with reliability in mind, particularly when it came to its ability to withstand extreme conditions. The gun has a maximum firing rate of 800 to 950 rounds per minute. Its gas regulator can be adjusted to give the weapon more power in dirty and dusty conditions, and it also has a setting which enables the gun to launch grenades from its muzzle. One of the Negev's biggest selling points is its versatility. Its parts are easily interchangeable, and the gun can be easily converted into 6 different sub-assemblies. The current NG7 variant of the IWI Negev was introduced in 2012. Designed out of a need for a lighter, full-caliber machine gun, it weighs just under 17.5 pounds and has a shorter barrel than its full-sized counterpart. While the NG7 is smaller than its predecessors, its designers managed to accomplish its reduced weight without sacrificing when it came to the gun's reliability and accuracy. At number 3, the Vector SS-77. During the late 1970s, South Africa fell under widespread international criticism for its apartheid policy of racial segregation and its controversial role in the Namibian War of Independence, also known as the Angolan Bush War and the South African Border War. Consequently, most of the world's major gun manufacturing countries imposed an international arms embargo on South Africa, forcing the nation's government and military to manufacture their own guns. One of the most successful guns that were produced as a result of the embargo was the Vector SS-77 general-purpose machine gun. It borrowed elements of both the Belgian-designed FN Mag and the Soviet PKM, and it looked very similar to the FN Mag. During its design phase, the SS-77 experienced substantial problems that required extensive improvements. By the time it finally entered service with the South African Defence Force in 1986, it had been made into a high-quality weapon, and in the years since, some firearms experts have even described it as one of the world's best general-purpose machine guns. Its reliability and effectiveness have been compared to that of the FN Mag and the PKM, as well as the German-made MG3. After achieving success with the full-sized version of the SS-77, the South African military sought to develop a lighter variant known as the Mini SS. It's 3 pounds lighter than its 21-pound counterpart, while boasting a simple yet highly effective design. The SS-77 remains in service with the South African Army today. It has also been used by a handful of other countries, including Colombian, Romanian, and Kuwaiti militaries. In recent years, the gun has undergone a modernization scheme to bring it up to par with the capabilities of other countries' machine guns. Number 2, the M2 Browning. Designed toward the end of World War I by American firearm developer John Browning, the M2 Browning is a heavy machine gun that's been in use since the 1930s. At 83 pounds, this belt-fed beast is not the type of gun that someone can just pick up and use. It's typically mounted on military vehicles, including ships and tanks, and is capable of firing hundreds of .50 caliber rounds per minute at a range of over 4 miles. In addition to its power, the M2 Browning has an impressively long maximum effective range of 2,000 yards. For this reason, besides functioning as a vehicle weapon, it's been used as a sniper rifle. The legendary Marine gunnery sergeant Carlos Hathcock made history with the weapon during the Vietnam War in 1967, when he achieved a confirmed kill at 2,500 yards. The M2 has been used extensively in combat, including in World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Falklands War, the Soviet-Afghan War, the Gulf War, the Iraq War, and the war in Afghanistan. It's the second longest used firearm by the US military and is a popular choice among armed forces in dozens of other countries. Number 1, the Maxim Gun. The first ever fully automatic machine gun was designed in 1884 by American-British inventor Hiram Stevens Maxim. Known as the Maxim Gun, it was equipped with one of history's earliest recoil-operated firing systems. Because it was equipped with a water cooling system, it was heavy and more complex than some rapid-fire guns, but it made up for its cumbersomeness with its ability to shoot 600 rounds per minute and to maintain its rate of fire far longer than conventional weapons of the time. It was possible for one person to operate the Maxim gun, but it realistically required more multitasking than one person was capable of, especially in combat, and was typically operated by a team of 4 to 6 men. Moving the gun, which was much bulkier and larger than modern machine guns, required multiple people as well. Historian Martin Gilbert described the Maxim gun as the weapon most associated with imperial conquest. It was heavily used by colonial powers during the Scramble for Africa period, when various Western European nations imposed their rule over the continent. Imperial powers were known to lure their less armed African opponents into open spaces before firing at them, giving them essentially no chance to defend themselves. Modern experts speculate that the Maxim gun also had a largely psychological effect on its targets. But the Maxim gun initially failed to gain popularity among militaries who, at the time, were hesitant to adopt the use of a machine gun due to their tendency to jam. Military officials were also concerned about the large cloud of smoke that was produced when the gun was fired, which stood to give away the shooter's position. This changed with the invention of smokeless powder, and it eventually became apparent that the Maxim was far more reliable than other machine guns. The British Army, US Army, Imperial Russian Army, and several other armed forces adopted the weapon, but it saw extremely limited use in combat. By the time World War I rolled around, it was becoming obsolete to better machine guns. Thanks for watching! Which one of these guns impressed you the most? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.